For the first time in forever, Disney is losing a major PR battle in the legacy dinosaur media. That's right. Places like the Associated Press are pressing on Disney, and they're not impressed with what the House of Mouse has to say. In this case, well, the usual drive-bys are telling the truth. Sonic is beating the Lion King, and we'll tell you why they're not busy lying for Disney anymore. Welcome back, folks. We are happy to have you. If it's your first time here on the channel, we are the place that explains entertainment, keeps you ahead of the culture curve. And if it's your second or third time back, well, folks, welcome. We can call you a friend. Consider clicking the like button and we'll get at it again. And don't worry, no, it's not like Disney World where they call you friend over and over and over. We're not into that cult kind of thing, but everyone is welcome here as we get ready to do what is so near and dear to us. That is, well, bringing truth to the House of Mouse. This is out of the Associated Press. Sonic 3 and Mufasa battle for number one at the holiday box office. The fact that it's on AP means it's just about as mainstream as it can be once the arbiters of neutrality, just like the Swiss, of course we know the AP, they miss very often now in terms of partisanship, but they are still seen as the standard bearer within the legacy dinosaur media, and Lindsay Barr is our author of this one. Two family films dominated the holiday box office this week, with Sonic the Hedgehog 3 winning the three-day weekend over Mufasa by a blue hair. Now, folks, I want to remind you that Sonic did not barely beat Mufasa in a key statistical category, and that is that if you were to have looked at the revenue per theater, Sonic 3 beat Mufasa by more than $1,000. So how is it that it was close? If Sonic 3 is hosing the Lion King by over $1,000 per screen, how is it close? Well, of course, it's because Disney has contractually obligated the theaters to show Mufasa much more than Sonic 3, to the tune of, well, Mufasa still holding 4,100 total screens across North America. It's obscene. Yet Sonic 3 is still winning. Paramount's Sonic movie earned $38 million, while Mufasa brought in $37.1 from theaters in the US and Canada, according to studio estimates Sunday. On a normal weekend, counting Friday, Saturday, and Sunday ticket purchases, the winner would be somewhat clear. But when the Christmas holiday falls on a Wednesday, as it did this year, the studios look at two sets of numbers. Now, this is trying to give Disney the ability to get out of that community note that they've been hit with, and now it's been twice. Yep. So this is Disney's defense. With a 5-day tally, the Walt Disney Company's Mufasa had the edge, bringing in $63.8 million. But of course, none of that really matters, because what truly matters is that if you look at the full box office haul for the domestics, because the internationals are not fully reporting yet for Sonic 3, if you look at the domestic, Sonic 3 overall is beating Mufasa. That's what matters, and that's what we'll be paying attention to at the end of the runs for both of these. Of course, Wicked and Moana 2 are still out there, and Nosferatu. But what I really want to bring to people's attention is Disney is losing the PR battle. They're losing places like the AP. People are no longer carrying the water. There was a time when the AP would have put out Disney's defense as the beginning, right? They would have cited the 6-day or the 5-day and just ignored the 3-day, and then claimed how, poorly executed community notes are on X, and used it as a chance to really use a cudgel against Elon Musk. Instead, we get a pretty darn fairly written article out of the AP. And I think that points to a Disney that doesn't have the gravitas they had once upon a time. I think the Emperor is beginning to be seen. Panel, what say you?
There's a little shift. There's a little shift, right? It's a little shift in the air. You can almost feel it, because now the gaslighting is no longer working. They actually have to start reporting the news, or people are just going to start tuning out from you. All right. Like Elon Musk says, hey, we are the media. People are tired of being lied to, gaslit, told that, oh, yeah, everything is great over here when it's not. So I think that's part of it. AP understands that. You see CNN starting to come around a little bit. You see a lot of these mainstream outlets starting to say, hey, you know what? If we keep lying to people, they're going to stop watching us and they're going to start tuning more into the YouTubers and to the podcasters, because those guys actually tell us the truth. Whereas these mainstream outlets, they just get paid to, like you said, Pro, carry the water for all of these big corporations. So I think that's what everybody's starting to look at. Don't forget also, when it comes to Sonic, that they hardly have any of the premium screens, the IMAXs and the Dolby Primes and the Dolby Cinemas, those are big ones. So yeah, they have to start covering this stuff fairly in order for everyone to understand what's happening. So it's not just less screens that they have more of the premium format screens. That's the big story right now when it comes to Sonic versus Mufasa. Mufasa's getting its tail kicked. Let's just be honest with you. It's getting crushed. And everybody sees it. But if you're a mainstream outlet and you come out and you try to report something with a spin, everybody's going to be like, wait a minute, that ain't what I'm seeing. WDW Pro said something different. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. The AP is lying to me. Oh, okay. Let me stop listening to the AP. Let me stop tuning into the AP. I don't want to pay any attention to those guys because they will spin something to the benefit of a Disney. And right now, Disney's not everybody's friend. Not a lot of people like Disney. So you got to start playing it right down the middle. I think that's what mainstream media is starting to discover. The emperor has no clothes, and everybody knows it now.
Derek, you've made so many great points. I want to try to get 2 of those points for a follow-up. First of all, when you say that Mufasa has the premium screens, folks, we need to pause on that, because I should have said that's a 30% difference in the average movie ticket price when you have all of the IMAXs versus when you've been given the secondary screens. Right. But the more important point by far, Derek, is when you say that the Associated Press, because we were giving them credit right then, and I want to give them credit because I'm a nice guy and I want to believe in people, right? So we want to say that Lindsay Barr is doing a good job, and we think she is. But at the same time, Derek, you're now making the new media versus legacy media comparison, and I can't find anything wrong with that. I think you've nailed it. Perhaps the reason it's not necessarily, see, you've changed my mind that quickly. It's not, I'm going to argue against myself now. It's not, Pro. It's not that suddenly the Associated Press doesn't want to carry the water for Disney. It's that the legacy dinosaur media is competing against the new media, and the new media will tell the truth and will embarrass them. Oh, yeah. Derek, you've opened my eyes.
Do you remember on election night? I mean, this is not trying to veer into politics here, but I think it's a relevant example. There was this woman who had gone to the grocery store and had bought a bottle of champagne, and she went to the checkout counter, and she was checking out, and she was talking about how she was going to be toasting Madam President that next day. And he said, "Oh, really? You think so?"
Yes.
And she said, "Well, yes, she's going to win." And he said, "Well, it's really close." And she said, "Oh, no, it's not. I'm a political analyst, and I know you wasted your vote." And she said, and he kind of looked at me, and I didn't care, and I went home. And then the next day, she was exposed to be not only incredibly filled with hubris, but also a fool to the nation. And at that point, that kind of embarrassment doesn't go away, because you've now put your political or your professional credentials on the line. You outed yourself as a political analyst. Who's going to trust you now? That's the same situation that the media finds itself in. While everybody is saying the same thing and they're creating an illusion of reality that people are buying into, they can get away with that. But when reality imposes itself, as it tends to do, once you've stamped your seal of approval on something that is badly, badly proven to be false, you can't get away from that. So they have to moderate, so they're at least within the realm of plausibility. They yes. don't have to be right, but they have to be plausible. If you're not plausible, you will not survive. And I think that's kind of where the shift is coming.
To add to Lauren's point right there, the reason why that political analyst was making that kind of a sentiment or statement was because of a poll out of the Des Moines Register with Ann Seltzer, who had said, "Oh, yeah, she's gonna win Iowa by a landslide, and here's why." Well, now, like you said, Lauren, the reality is coming full force in that Ann Seltzer, or at least the Des Moines Register, is being sued by Trump over that poll because it was so wrong. And I believe Ann Seltzer actually ended up retiring just after the election. So there are consequences, like you said, Lauren, to being wrong, especially if you're, in the media right now, if you have a publication like AP and so forth, in which people are distrusting of it even further than they already have. You have to have viewers. You have to have people coming back. You have to have people to support your reporting, maybe you as an author. So I do agree with you, Lauren. You have to, come back to something that is somewhat plausible in order so that your reputation doesn't go sky high, even though it has been badly damaged. Yeah, PLFs are a big part of this story, I would say. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 would have done gangbusters business had it had access to any of those PLF screens. Unfortunately, with Mufasa the Lion King, absorbing all of that there's really nowhere to be had there. But again, folks, this was a prequel to a film that generated $1.6 billion at the box office in 2019. This should have been a plus $1 billion film out the gate. The fact that it is underperforming, especially to Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and we know the budget difference between these two films, is absolutely astounding.
Well, and let's remember, Sonic is winning. Sonic is winning in spite of it not receiving the premium screens. Sonic is winning in spite of it not being able to have as many screens as Mufasa. Sonic is winning despite being outspent by orders of magnitude in marketing. Sonic is winning in spite of not having a full international release the same way as Mufasa, and likely because Disney has even more contractual power overseas with those theaters. I want to go to Nolan and ask you this. Mr. Thunder, it seems to me that if Disney cannot win in this PR battle today, it seems to me that 2025 could be very, very ugly. You've got not Captain America 4, you've got Snow White, you have Thunderdolts, and that's in about a 3-month span. You have the Silver Surfette in the Not So Fantastic Four. We can keep going. Nolan, how bad does this get if Disney can't get the mainstream media to play along with them anymore?
It's awful because the reality is the common person doesn't like being lied to. And you know what they also don't like? Bias. I am biased to Sonic the Hedgehog, Shadow the Hedgehog, all them. So if I start going in and like making a bunch of inaccurate articles and basically slandering the opposition, ain't no one going to take you seriously anymore. And I think it goes back to Disney. Point in case here, people loved Sonic because they finally got to see Shadow. They got to see Tails, Knuckles, Sonic, all them. And it wasn't just a bait and switch. And I think until Disney learns that lesson, whether it's the hard way or not, it's going to become irrelevant because these news outlets, this media, they've been burned so many times by this. And with, as we've said many times here, without, the OG Twitter to basically control the narrative anymore, I mean, they're a joke. Getting community noted twice. I think that if they do not wake up from this, they're going to die in their sleep.
And I'll just say, too, that I can't be the only one who, when Amy showed up and the theater went wild.
Yeah.
Sorry for spoilers. Listen, Derek, I didn't jump out of my seat. I wasn't that excited, Derek.
No?
I was the only one in the theater who stood up and said, "Come on, where's Big the Cat?" Or Big the Cat. Let's say Froggy. That should be the script for Sonic 4. Sonic 4, the quest to save Froggy. Sorry, it's a deep cut Sonic reference. And folks, let the credits roll for this one. Well, it is in the bank. We are done here. We're over and out. But before we go, there's one thing we must shout to you, and we do it in the kindest way possible. Folks, it would be such a pleasure if you could consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, and that notification bell. Click it, stick it to the algorithms. You bet. Don't forget also, as you get ready to leave, drop a comment down below if you have not yet, for we would love to know what's on your mind. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, so waste not yours. Join a community dialogue. Folks, as we get ready to leave, we say to you, and we mean it, keep learning, keep growing, and no matter what the world might do or what your station might be, up or down, you keep having fun.